What up, guys? I'm former UFC fighter and current owner of Easton Training Center, Eliot Marshall.
I'm Scott Nickel, teaching pastor at Flatirons Community Church.
Scott, am I fucking going to hell?
Yes.
Welcome to the Saint
And the Sinner. All right, everybody, welcome back to Saint and the Sinner, episode 6, Eliot's birthday edition. Today is actually Eliot's birthday. Hey, I think we've talked about this before, but I am not a good gift giver or gift receiver. But I did bring you a gift today.
Oh, fuck
You
yeah.
don't even have to enjoy it or eat it or whatever. But it's a donut.
Man, yes.
Oh wow!
I'm gonna get fat today,
I didn't expect that reaction. So I tried to find. There's supposed to be a good donut joint down here called Dizzy's or something like that. Couldn't find it. So anyway, that's from the coffee shop.
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, so there you go. Happy birthday. You are how old today? 34?
34.
Yeah,
Two things about my birthday.
We're the same age
yeah,
now.
Nice. You're not older than me anymore.
Yeah, my number, yeah.
What was I going to say? My birthday, yeah. People always get mad about having birthdays, especially as they get older. And I don't get it, because it's either you get old or you die young.
Yeah,
which one is
Hank
it?
were talking about this the other
Yeah,
day.
like-
Oh, and this is Jay's return episode,
Yes,
too.
Jay's back. Jay's back, looking
Yeah.
tired over there. Looking a little more red state, you know? That Budweiser, that straight Budweiser
fireworks.
changes things in you, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Your molecular level. And 2, gift giving. Man, that was such a great gift. You know I'm a fat kid at heart, right? So you actually got me something that you know I will actually enjoy.
I thought
right?
I didn't know what kind of donut you would want.
Yeah, that's
though.
perfect.
Plain
Doesn't
glazed.
matter. Yeah, plain glazed, you know? I hate gift giving.
Yeah.
When it's just for the point of gift giving.
Yeah.
Right? Like, this is why at Christmas, I can't stand Christmas.
Yeah.
Because you have to give these gifts to people.
And
Like,
you know when you really mail it in is when you go gift card.
yeah.
Or you go the like credit card thing that's loaded with like $25 or
The
whatever.
fact that gift cards are even in existence lets us know that we give too many gifts.
That's a good point.
You know?
Yeah.
Because,
good point.
man, if I really want to get somebody
Go buy the
something, I will
gift.
be like, oh man, that person really wants that.
Yeah.
You know? That person really, really wants that.
But if you're being lazy, you just
Yeah.
get the Target gift card,
Gift card.
or in the aisle where there's like all the different gift
At
cards,
Safeway.
with like the
Yeah.
like the Chili's. Oh, the Chili's gift
I
card.
have
There
to
you
give
go.
this person something today.
Yeah,
You know?
so
It's retarded.
what's the least I can do?
And I'm very difficult to buy gifts for because my wife always complains about this. I don't wait for anything. When I make a decision,
You bought your Apple TV,
I
right?
bought my newly
Yeah.
out of the box Hank told me to buy a refurbished Apple TV and save
Yeah.
$20.
Yeah, I don't
Like
think
it's
that's how
one thing.
you
It's one thing if it's like you save $100 and then you take this risk that it's going to be okay. But to save $20, come on, man.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Hank, you got a good job. You work for Saint and the Sinner, don't you? get the new products, Hank. Get the new products.
Right. So this is a big week, man. We had 4th of July celebrations left and right. You guys came over to the house and we got Kane and your son addicted to fireworks.
Addicted to fireworks.
That's the least
Oh
I
my
can do.
Lord. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Addicted to fireworks. Fireworks every night now. And then we had to explain to him that it's like Christmas, you know, and what if it was Christmas every day? And he'd be like, oh, that would be great if it was Christmas.
He's not following the rationale yet.
I have a good story leaving your house, though. So, Kanan, he's 4 something, and he doesn't stay up that late, and,
Right.
So we're driving home, and he literally goes, how am I going to get to bed? And we're like, what do you mean, buddy? And Renee turns around, and he's in the process of taking all of his clothes off in the back of the car. Because he has to sleep in his underwear, right? Because I sleep in my underwear, so he has to sleep in his underwear. So Renee turns around, and he's like all contorted, trying to get his pants off with the seatbelt, because he still has one of those booster seats where it comes up the middle, like just the strap.
That's gonna
so
be a
he's
problem.
like pulling his leg through the strap, and literally, like, finally he gets all of his clothes off, and he just mumbles for the next minute. And then all of a sudden we noticed that, like, the second he stopped mumbling, he turned around and that was it.
out.
So he was good. I asked him how he got to bed the next morning, and he wasn't sure.
Shouldn't remember. That's a sign of a good party.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Where's my pants and how did I get in bed?
Yeah, man, that's going to be a question he's going to be asking for a long time. I hope he has as much fun as he had, equivalent levels, of fun as he had. I hope it continues throughout his life.
Kids go hard when it comes
Oh.
to fireworks. You get fireworks, a trampoline, some some food and maybe some sodas in them or something like that. And they go nuts.
They go nuts.
Yeah.
They go nuts.
And they just pass out.
So
Silas, my 5-year-old now, he was like staggering like a drunk that night. He was so tired, like he could barely stand up.
They party way harder than we party.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we can
just
even
sat
add
around.
alcohol. You know what I mean? You can add alcohol and get wasted. But the level of output that the children display is insane.
It's unreal.
Yeah.
Like if we just went and jumped on a trampoline for 10 minutes, we'd be done for a little while. They do it for like hours.
And then they go back.
Yeah. Reload. And then there was a bunch of fights this week. This is like a crazy fight week. There was World Series of Fighting. There was Muay Thai fights out in Vegas. There was 2 UFC cards, one on Saturday, one on Sunday. It was, I think, Justin Gaethje fought in World Series of Fighting earlier in the week. I mean, it was just like a crazy busy week of fighting. You know what I heard the other day is that Gaethje doesn't cut weight. Have you ever heard this?
No, I'll have to ask Lisa.
Yeah, ask him because
he doesn't walk around at 55. I know.
I wouldn't think so. But he doesn't cut, so like I guess he drops it slowly and then shows up at weight is what I heard. So I don't know.
I'll ask Lisa.
Ask him about that. If for those who don't know, Justin Gaethje is he's a dominant force that hasn't lost at all ever in his professional career.
Hasn't lost, never lost.
In World Series of Fighting, he's the
champ.
Welterweight champ,
no,
lightweight champ. Yeah. So
he's a monster.
UFC will scoop him up at some point, I would think.
For his sake, I hope.
I hope so too.
For his sake, I hope.
And then Brandon Thatch signed to fight on August 23rd, so he'll be back in the cage, which is cool.
Baby, I know you're watching. I have to go somewhere on August the 21st, so I'm just telling you now. I'll be leaving. This is my notice to you, babe. This is my notice to you.
I'm really excited for you that you get to go to Tulsa. That's going to be fun.
Is it Tulsa or is it OKC?
I think it's Tulsa. Either way, it doesn't matter. It's in Oklahoma. It's terrible.
Have you ever heard the Oklahoma story? With me, Cody, and Leister?
No.
Oh, these fucking idiots. Oh my god. So we go to Tulsa. We go to OKC for Nate's fight.
Hank's from Oklahoma, so this is good.
We go to OKC for Nate's fight, right?
Yeah.
And it's boring, right? Like going to fights with your fighter is very, very boring.
Yeah,
we've talked about this already. It's very boring. So anyway, we do the dinner thing the night before the fight, and then we find out that there's a casino. So, Nate goes back, and we're like, let's go to the casino.
Right.
So we drive to we're driving to the casino, and we're on this, 8-lane highway, 4 each direction. And Cody's driving, right? And all of a sudden, I see, and I'm in the front seat, Leister, Cody's wife, maybe somebody else. Yeah, no, just Leister and Cody's wife are in the back seat. All of a sudden, I see this car on our left hit the median that's separating the highway, right? And I'm like, oh shit, look at that, right? And I was like, I didn't know if the person was like texting, who knew what was happening, right? They hit the median, and then they go all the way across the highway, all the way across the 4 lanes, right? And I'm like, oh man, this person's drunk, right? So I get on the phone and I call 911. If you're ever in Oklahoma City, don't call 911. They do you absolutely no good. Absolutely no good. So I gave this lady the best directions that I could possibly give, being a non-Oklahoma.
City,
you know what I mean?
Sooner.
So I called this lady and I'm like, hey, look, we are on Highway 235 headed south. We just passed exit 24. And she's like, I need to know exactly where you are.
Well,
and I was
as
like,
I'm driving, that's going to change by the second.
I was like, I don't know what else I can tell you. We are headed south at Highway 235, just past exit 24. She's like, yeah, I can't help you there. And I'm like, what do you mean you can't help me? I mean, like,
you to triangulate.
Yeah, like I was like, you have my cell phone as well, right? Like I'm calling from a cell phone. Use that technology that I know you have. Yeah. So anyway, I ended up hanging up on the 911 operator because it's just we're getting nowhere. So anyway, we're slowly following this person to see what we can do.
Yeah.
You're
stalking the drunk driver.
So it's just try to because at the time I was still on the phone with 911. Right? So all of a sudden they get off the highway, and all of a sudden this dually truck just comes flying by us, passing us on the right, and we are on an exit. Right? So now I'm like, all right, we're done.
Going on?
I'm like, we're done, guys. Like there's one car obviously running away from another car.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, we're done. We are out, right? And Cody's like, and he's driving. And I'm like, what do you mean, I I was like, dude, we're out of here. Stop.
Yeah.
Like, don't follow that person. Like, there's obviously a situation going on
Yeah.
that we don't know about.
Yeah.
You know?
This is Cody.
But this is Cody.
Yeah.
And then there's Leister in the back,
Of
who's
course.
worse than Cody.
Worse than Cody.
Who's like, no, man, go, dude. Go. 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 You know, and I'm just like, oh, man. I'm like, Cody, pull over. And, you know, Cody, stop. I was like, Cody, turn the fucking car off. You know, like, I'm screaming at him, you know? So we're following both of these people now. So the dually truck blocks this car in around the curve, right? Before you could say go, before you could see anything, Leister gets out of the car, right? Leister gets out of the car and he starts getting up on the other car. The dude in the dually truck gets out of the car and he has a gun, right?
Of course he does.
Of course he
You're in
does.
Oklahoma.
Leister can't see any of this, right? So he's not even worried about the situation. And I'm just like, oh shit, right? I'm like, oh no, oh man. So I look at Cody, I'm like, don't get out of the car, man. Don't get out of the car, bro. You know? Cody gets out of the car.
Surprised Cody didn't have a gun with him.
Yeah, well, we're in a rental.
Right.
Right? So all of a sudden, Julie's in the back of the car screaming, Cody, no!
Yeah.
Cody, no!
Yeah.
Right? Leister is walking up on this car in this wrestling stance like he's going to double leg a Honda Civic, right? And you're like, what are you going to do, man? You can't double leg a shotgun, you know? Like, and I'm just like, oh my God. And I look at this situation, I'm like, I can't let my friends die by themselves, you know?
Yeah.
So I slowly start to get out of the car like, oh man, this is going to be bad.
This is gonna suck.
So anyway, it turns out to be nothing.
Well,
right?
it had to be something.
Yeah, this girl was drunk. That's it. And
Why did the guy pull his gun?
because the dude, she hit his car.
Oh.
She hit his truck,
All
right? And so they all started going, oh yeah, we did some great stuff tonight, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you guys are idiots.
Yeah.
You guys are idiots, right?
You
I
almost
was
got
like, we
killed.
had no clue. Yeah, it worked out fine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you have no clue what almost went down right here. You know?
This is how you find
This is how
fun
you
in
die.
Oklahoma
This is
City,
how you
yeah.
die, you know?
Yeah.
3 Colorado young men with children and families
3 kids.
perish, you know? So anyway, the cops end up showing up. Oh no, so Leister makes the girl like sit on the curb and all this stuff.
playing
Like,
cops,
he's
citizens
playing
arrest.
cops. Yeah. You know? So sit on the curb. So anyway, the cops show up. They talk to us a little bit, right? And we're walking away. And the funny part is no, I'm sorry, I missed the part of the story. So the cop was like, and you called 911, right? And I was like, yes, sir. And he goes, and then you followed the car. And we're all like, yes, sir. You know? And he's like, and then you trapped her in. We're like, yes, sir. And he's like, and then you guys got out of the car. And we're like, yes, sir. And he looks at us and goes, you fucking idiots. Like the cop even said it, right?
Right.
But this all just goes over Cody and
Yeah,
Leister's
they're
head.
like, no,
they're not even
vigilantes
listening,
tonight.
right? They're not even listening. And then the guy turned, and then like we're all walking away, and he just goes, hey, Eliot, you going to the fights tonight? You know? And I was, or tomorrow. And I was like, yeah, man. He's like, cool, we'll see you there. And I was like, thank you.
All right.
All right, that's great. You know, and I'm still like, I'm so mad at them, right?
Yeah.
Like
That's so Cody, though. For those who don't know, Cody Donovan, who's fighting in Ireland next
and
week.
Leister's worse.
Yeah, and Leister's over the
Leister's
top.
worse.
Yeah, Cody killed a hog with a knife.
With a knife.
This summer. He attacked a hog with a knife, killed it. Him and a dog.
Yeah. Cody's
Okay.
Cody is a meathead by trade,
Yeah.
right? And Leister's a redneck.
Right? It's a good
And these are
combo.
two of my best
It's a
friends,
good
right? These guys are
combo.
two of my best friends, so I can say this about them, right?
Yeah.
So Leister's a redneck, and Cody's a meathead.
Yeah.
So meatheads and rednecks, they kind of go together a little bit,
And
especially
you put him in Oklahoma
Yeah,
City.
in Oklahoma.
Yeah, perfect.
I was like, man, I was like, guys, you can't tell my wife this story because I will never go on another fight trip.
Yeah.
Like this will be it.
Yeah, this will be no more.
You know.
So now you got to break the news. You're going to Oklahoma with
Again,
Thatch.
with Leister.
And Leister will be
Yeah.
with you. Perfect.
Great, right?
Awesome. You
All
should
right.
drive this time.
What's that? Yeah, I'm gonna get the rental car.
For sure. All right, you want to dive in a little bit? Talk. You want to talk about this Hobby Lobby decision, man?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. I want your opinion first. I want to hear what you got.
So to sum it up for everybody, there was another company that was involved in this
Mhm.
case as well, a small like woodworking
Yeah.
company out of Iowa or something like that.
Mhm.
But anyway, Hobby Lobby was like the headliner.
Hobby Lobby was the one paying for everything.
Right, of course. And so, basically it came down to, and I may get some of the details wrong on this, so correct me if I'm wrong, because of Obamacare, Hobby Lobby.
Let me correct you. It's
Already?
it's the Affordable Care Act. my
Sorry,
friend.
all right, my bad.
The people on the right try to just destroy it by putting his name to it. It has an actual name.
Well, everybody refers to
Sure.
it that way.
It's the Affordable Care Act.
All right, the Affordable Care Act. So anyway, because of that, they did not want to have to provide insurance to their employees that would potentially be used for
They didn't want to pay for the contraception.
or abortifacient drugs or things like that. So that was the big. They're not Catholic owned though. Right?
No. Mm-mm.
So
I don't know what
interesting to me that it
Christian
keeps
they are, but it's
interesting to me that it keeps getting talked about in the contraceptive end of things, because that would seemingly to me be only a Catholic issue. So I don't know.
I don't know either.
Yeah, I don't know a ton about it. But the Supreme Court ruled 5-4 in favor of Hobby Lobby.
Yes.
So they're allowed to not provide this service to their employees.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'll first touch on the Supreme Court.
Yeah, SCOTUS as
Yes.
it's named, which sounds a lot like scrotum, which bothers me. So, yeah.
The Supreme
It
Court
sounds like a disease on your scrotum.
Yes. The Supreme Court is the dumbest. It's dumber than Congress and the president and all of it, right? It's the dumbest institution we have almost of this whole checks and balances thing. When are they not going to vote 5-4?
I don't know. Well, yeah, because
there's 9 of them. There's
Right.
9 of them, and it's always 5-4.
Yeah, one way or the other. Too.
Do we ever get a 6-3, a 7-2, an 8-1?
Yeah, it'd
You
be
know?
interesting to look at that.
I just want to see it. Like on every big decision, it's always 5-4
Mhm.
because of of what president put them in.
Mhm,
You know,
right.
so there's no checks and balances. It's
And they
so
all live to be 150.
yeah, it's ridiculous, and they never retire.
Yeah,
right?
no, they die.
They never retire. They retire and then die within a week. You know, it's like, oh man, I have to go on hospice.
I can't.
I'm
rule
out of the
anymore.
Supreme Court.
It does worry me a bit that, like, when they get appointed, they're usually old already.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, oh man, I'm not sure you're competent at this point.
Do you even know what's going on in the world?
Yeah, are you paying attention?
Right? I mean, stem cell. Do you know what that is?
Yeah, there's a few of them that I've read some of their stuff, some of the younger ones, you know, but boy, some of them they're there for a long time because
Yeah.
they get that seat and they just hang
They
on
just
to
hang on
it.
because why not, right?
Yeah.
If they're not going to kick you out,
Yeah.
right? Then hell
Yeah.
yeah, man. That's
Yeah,
it.
I'm not big on the legislative branch, you know, making these universal. Is it the legislative branch, judicial branch?
Judicial,
sorry,
yeah.
that makes rules for the entire country. You know, I mean, I think there's a place.
So hold
for it.
on. So they don't make rules. That's not how they work, right?
Yeah, kinda,
so,
yeah.
So the legislative branch, the legislative and the executive branch pass the laws,
And then they get to
and
rule
then they
on
get
whether
to rule on whether it's
constitutional.
constitutional or
Right.
not, right?
Right.
So that's this whole like system of checks and balance. You know what I mean? Checks and
Right.
balances that is totally even non-existent in the
Right.
country anymore. Like
Right.
it doesn't even work.
Yeah.
So anyway,
with the decision.
so the decision, what the decision that was made,
Mhm.
and it turned into that they didn't have to do this, was that a corporation could be seen as an individual,
Right.
right?
Right.
So they gave a corporation the same rights as an individual, I believe, right? So
Some-
now they had these religious freedom rights.
Yeah, so with a big company like Hobby Lobby,
Mhm.
that seems a little like a stretch or something like that. So that may seem odd to people, but I guess what you would have to look at is the ramifications for like the small business
Mhm.
owner.
Mhm.
You know, so if it's, you know, you own your corner store, you know, it's Elliot Marshall's, you know, donut shop or whatever, Glazed donuts, yeah, you know, whatever that is, that gives that small business owner the right to allow his religious beliefs to kind of
Hold
dictate
precedent.
the way that he does business.
Hold precedent on,
Yeah.
on some of his business decisions.
Yeah.
Now I just want to clear everything up with the Affordable Care Act. If you have under 50 employees, then this has nothing to do with you, right? Because you don't have to cover their insurance anyway.
Right.
So,
But
so
how does that work though? Because I've had a few small business owners talk to me about, like, the coffee shop I go to. He was talking about how if you work 30 hours or something like that, he does have to, or something like
I
that.
don't think so. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
You know, we'll look it up.
Yeah.
You know,
We'll
we'll
check
look it
it
up and talk about it. But I'm pretty sure that you have to have a minimum amount of employees because I have plenty of employees that work over
Right.
30 hours
Right.
that I necessarily don't cover their insurance for.
Yeah.
However, I am looking into this.
Yeah.
Right, because I do believe it is the right thing to do.
To provide the insurance.
Yes, especially if you can afford it. You know, I do.
Well, I think
I will make a little less money to make sure my employees have a good life.
Sure. I think that, you know, this decision kind of makes it clear.
I tried to throw that little pump me up.
Yeah, you're such a good small business owner, such a nice guy. But there's kind of this dividing line between the way people view rights. You know,
Yes.
there's one side that views rights as things that I deserve to have.
Mhm.
Things, you know, like healthcare or you
Mhm,
know, whatever
mhm.
that is. And then there's another side that says rights are more about non-interference. So like I want my right to free speech. I want my right to free assembly. I want my right to bear arms. I want my right, and don't screw with me on those things. Now the thing about rights when they're viewed as things is that has a repercussion, because if I have a right to a thing, then somebody has an obligation to give it to me. So that's part of what this is dividing.
A little bit. I don't believe anybody has the right to health care.
I don't either.
I don't believe that.
Mm-mm.
You know what I mean? However, we're the largest country in the world.
Mm-hmm.
We could probably go into this forever, right? We're the largest country in the world and the richest country in the world. And a lot of other countries have figured out
how. We're in debt, man. But I hear what you're saying, yeah.
A lot of other countries.
We're very, very, very wealthy.
We're very, very wealthy.
Yes.
We're
doing good.
We're doing fine.
Compared to 99% of the world.
We're doing fine, right? I do believe that the country should provide health care for those that cannot afford it. Or everybody, in that case, And a lot of people are going to disagree with me on that one because they don't want to, they don't want to pay for it, basically is what they're saying. I believe you're wrong, we pay for it anyway. One way or the other.
Yeah,
your insurance is going up, or you're going to pay for it.
Yeah, if you
pass
out on the side of the road over here, and we have to take you to the hospital,
and you have no insurance,
we're paying for that.
And you have no insurance.
This is one of the
both
things.
of our wives work in the medical industry, and they take care of plenty of people.
Oh yeah,
that have zero insurance that come into their facilities, and somebody pays for it.
Right,
it's for sure not the doctor. The doctor's still getting paid. Everyone's still getting paid. You're paying for it.
This is the thing about homelessness that is actually so costly. Is that every time like a homeless person, passes out on the street, has any kind of medical issue, they get an ambulance ride. That's already several $1,000s.
Yeah, this is the problem with healthcare.
Right.
This is the problem with healthcare.
Yeah, I mean, we ran into a study with, I think it was just in Denver, like the average homeless person's medical costs in a year are over $40,000.
Sure.
And so it'd actually be cheaper to and they tried this in Denver, like to just put them in an apartment for free, furnished, and then help them get a job. Now the problem with that is a lot of the homeless population is unemployable.
Unemployable, and two, they have mental disease.
Right.
So they can't hold a job.
Reasons. All kinds of reasons. But anyway, at the end of the day, if you end up in the ambulance and we take you to the hospital, nobody's going to go, oh, that guy didn't have insurance, let him die on the curb. That's not the way it's going to work in this country.
And the ambulance company isn't going to go, we'll waive some things here to make this cheaper. They'll go, we're going to jack this up because the government's going to pay for it.
Yeah, pay us the premium.
Pay us everything, as high as you can. Right. So this is the problem with healthcare.
So at the end of the day, back with the Hobby Lobby thing, I'm okay with the decision. If I'm coming down on a side, I'm okay with the decision because I'm more in favor of providing business owners with rights for how to run their business than I am in favor of the government telling them what they have to do or how they have to do it.
Okay, I'm glad you said that way because now we have something to talk about. We've entered a slippery slope now. We've entered a very slippery slope. What's my religion?
You don't have one.
Let's just pretend. Let's pretend you walked.
Elliot Marshall.
Let's pretend you walked into Eliot Marshall's donut shop.
Right.
You don't know me.
Right.
What's my religion?
I don't know.
You don't know.
Right.
Right. I can now say my religion is whatever I want my religion to be.
Sure.
I don't want to provide any health care because it's my religion, my religious belief that God will take care of everything.
Yep.
Right? And this is God's will now.
Yeah.
So I have, it can't be Elliot's Donut Shop because Elliot's Donut Shop doesn't have to provide health care.
Right.
I run Pepsi-Cola or Coca-Cola or whatever.
Sure.
So that's my religious belief.
Right.
My religious belief is that the females have to wear things on their head, burqas on their head.
Yep.
Right? That's my religious belief. So where are we going to stop this? Okay? It's we can just do this all day.
But doesn't capitalism kind of sort that out? Like you're screwed as a business owner at some point if you do that. And then on the other side,
no, I'm not because you think people are going to stop buying Pepsi?
Well, but Pepsi's publicly traded. Is Hobby Lobby publicly traded?
I think so. I don't know. Either way, let's look at it. Sure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let's take it away, right? You think people are going to stop? I'm never going to shop at Hobby Lobby.
Yeah.
Just like I don't eat at Chick-fil-A. or filet. I
those
won't.
chicken sandwiches.
They're so good. It kills me
You're
that
really
I went
missing
this
out.
way.
You're really missing out.
I'm not. My
Oh,
soul
man,
is straight.
No, you're missing
My
out.
soul.
those chicken sandwiches. And,
My works are going to get me somewhere, Scott. My works are going to get me somewhere. I'm not relying on this other
An
thing.
Oreo shake is so good.
It's so good. I agree with you. I won't let my nanny take my child to pick up Chick-fil-A for my kid, even if she pays for it.
We'll probably get into that in the next episode.
Yeah, sure.
That's just silly. You should be free from that.
No, I shouldn't. I have some moral ground.
So if you find out things that other big companies do that morally you're just not cool with, will you boycott them as well?
It depends on the moral thing that I'm not cool with, you know? It depends on what it is.
Yeah.
And like we went over last week, that's one of my 4 pillars.
I know. It's one of your big ones.
So here's my second problem with Hobby Lobby. And I don't know what you're going to say to this, so here it is. What Chinese factories do they like to get all their
Little trinkets.
Yeah.
I don't go to Hobby Lobby
It's
because
crazy.
places like that make me nervous anyway. I don't like going.
But
to
I
those
just want to know
places.
which side does the Christian side of them fall on? Because
Well-
they really like to buy all of their products, or a good percentage of their products, from the Chinese sweatshops where little 2-year-olds are in there working.
Sure.
Right. So this I could care less about the Supreme Court decision, really.
Yeah.
Right. The Supreme Court can go fuck themselves, in my opinion, because it's just stupid. It really is just stupid. I'm sure I just went on some fucking government watch list.
You're wrong anyway.
You know. Oh yeah. I look up 9/11
Conspiracy
theories. Oh
yeah,
man, I'm on the
you're
watch
screwed.
list.
They're watching you.
Next
There's a
thing
drone
I'm-
hovering
yeah.
over your house right now.
Exactly.
Hank and I saw a drone the other day.
Did you really?
We're
Damn,
coming
son.
back from Wyoming. We're coming back from Wyoming, right? And we're
Mhm.
coming south on I-25, and there's this big white plane. Like,
There.
and I was like, Hank, what is that? And he's like, I don't know. I was like, it's a plane. He's like, no, it's not. There's no way there's a person in that. And I think your eyes are better than mine because I was still like, that's a plane. And then there's this like orange balloon hanging from the bottom of it,
Uh-huh.
and it drops it. It drops this big orange balloon into this field, and we watch it go
Damn.
all the way down, and we're like, this could be it for us. Like, we don't know what's about to happen. Like, this chemical warfare
You're
is
about to find out if you were right or wrong.
Yeah, we're all about to know.
You're about to find out if you were right or wrong.
And it drops and disappears, and we look over, and there's these 3 trucks in a circle over in the field, and we can't see the balloon anymore. I think they were just practicing like target practice. It was crazy.
Sure.
Man. It was crazy. Anyway, so there's probably a drone over your house for the things you said.
So just where do they want to invoke their moral religious rights? Because hold
Yeah.
on, right? Because not only do they buy the products from China, right? Which that's being made in these sweatshops, and this is my argument with Christianity and every other one, right? You pick and choose, right? You pick and choose, and let's talk about the rampant abortion that goes on in China. Right?
Yeah.
The rampant. So if you're so against it,
Quit feeding
right?
money into
Quit
it.
feeding money into it.
Yep.
Quit feeding money into it. And this is my problem.
I wouldn't disagree with that at all. I think a Christian has an obligation, especially in the way that they do business, to sort out all the angles of their business to make sure it's consistent with their
So
beliefs.
this isn't a religious rights issue at all. This is a I don't want to pay for something issue. Because they're fine with making money in China, using China to make money.
Sure.
They have no problem with it whatsoever. This is my problem with religion.
Yeah, well, it's your problem with Hobby Lobby. It's your
No,
problem with anybody
religion.
who's inconsistent.
No, with religion. Because I do believe, and I know everyone's going to go, oh, well, they're not doing what we're supposed to be doing, what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
They
I hear
shouldn't
you.
be doing that if that's what they're doing.
And I'm going to make a huge comparison that I'm going to get destroyed for. People are going to be like, oh my God.
It's your turn this week.
It's my turn this week. If I put a white sheet over my head
Yeah.
and I hold a piece of wood burning and I get on a horse and I just start riding around town,
Yeah.
right? I get put in a group,
Yes.
100%. And it's not one that you want to be in,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Well, you guys can't avoid that either. But
You are going to get killed for that comparison. Christians are the KKK.
and I'm not saying that,
I
right?
know, I know.
No one's saying that they're equivalent in their levels, right? But when you choose to use your religion for a certain argument,
You're invoking your
you're
religion.
invoking your religion, right? So now everyone that wants to follow this religion is going to get dumped in here.
Yep.
You know? So you can't just run away from it and go, oh, those people are bad and they're not really Christian. And da, 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 da. They are, because the only thing that you need to be Christian is the grace of Jesus Christ, or the accepting it.
But
right?
that doesn't mean that certain people within that group aren't acting inconsistent with their beliefs. There's
100%,
hypocrites everywhere you go.
And I'm just saying that the religion. So it goes back to the moral thing. It begs no morality. Your religion and no religion begs any morality. Because you can do whatever you want, and just like Hobby Lobby is doing whatever they want.
No, you can't say no
using
religion.
their religion.
I'll come to the defense of the Muslims and everybody else on this.
You're
one.
going to go there.
Yeah,
Yes, I was waiting for this.
Well,
I was waiting for you. Because my friends have told me that to stop attacking Christians and start running after the Muslims, and you just did it for me.
Well,
yes.
no. Actually, you made the point the other day that
Sure.
Christianity is unique in regards to its grace. You
Yeah.
know, in all other religions, it's about working your way to the top. It's about earning your salvation. Islam is one of those, that kind of thing. So with, I don't think you can group all religions and say a lot of religions invoke a lot of morality because your life depends on it. No. Christianity says, as a result of what's been done for you, this is what you do, but you don't do this to earn your salvation. It's a different thing. One's obligatory, the other's a response of gratitude.
Sure, I get it. And I'm just saying none of them make you be moral. There are moral tenets. Like I'm not gonna argue whether not cheating on your wife is good or bad. Of course you shouldn't cheat on your wife, right? I'm not gonna say should you not steal and not murder and do all these things, right? Just like I don't know them all even by heart, probably the 10 Commandments.
Sure.
I think they're pretty good rules.
Yeah, they're a low bar.
They're pretty good rules, man. But they don't make you be moral. And neither does any religion. So this is my point.
Yeah.
My point with Hobby Lobby is they are going to invoke their religious right and then just totally disregard it on the same day, probably.
That could very much be the case.
They most likely have things shipped in from China the day, because they can't not get things shipped in, right? The same day, or let's just say the same month
that
this decision came down,
sure.
right? So they don't really care about their religious right. They don't give a rat's ass.
Yeah, listen.
Right?
If you're saying there's probably a certain level of hypocrisy in major corporations, I'm not going to argue.
And
that.
the religion.
Oh, and I wouldn't argue that either. We've talked about that.
We've talked about this, right?
Sure.
So this is my problem. My problem isn't with you individually believing in. What's up?
It's just a piece of the plant that fell off over here. I'm worried about it.
Mikey, your office is dying. We won't tell you what happened last week.
But here's the difference, and I've been talking about this at church lately, is that rules don't incite obedience. In fact, they have a tendency to do the opposite. So, Eli was I've been messing with him because he went to Girl Scout camp. With his sisters. So there's like a boys branch of here's where all the brothers of the sisters have to go.
And your wife says like $20. So
it's so cheap. Right? She's like, take
$20 for a week. Get out of here.
So every day I'd be like, all right, have fun at Girl Scout camp. And he'd be like, shut up. But anyway, the first day he comes back and I was like, how was it? He's like, there's way too many rules. This is typical Eli.
Sure.
I was like what? And he's like, there's this fence they don't want us to climb. I'm like, so why? He's like, I don't know, but I climbed it, and I can't figure out why they don't want us to climb it. But I mean, they probably wouldn't have been so concerned about the fence if they would have just said nothing about the fence. But the second you say don't climb the fence,
right?
Why not? You know? So rules don't create a moral person. Rules actually reveal our lack of morality, because here's the bar, and typically we fall short of it, even the low bar. You know? And so that's in Christianity. I think what's fundamentally different is that, again, we've talked about this. Jesus comes along and goes, you guys thought, he comes along and says, you guys thought you were so good because you didn't murder. I'm telling you, you're still screwed because you're angry with your brother. So he raises the bar so high that he makes it very abundantly clear that nobody could live up to it perfectly.
Sure.
And then goes, this is why you need me. This is why you need grace.
That's great.
Which does not create an environment. It's different from, grace is very different from giving rules, because grace actually creates an environment where...
There's no rules.
No, of gratitude.
There's no rules, though.
Well, in one sense, you're right.
Okay.
In one sense, you're right. So I'm really, really grateful and glad for what you did. So why would I not want to honor you? Why would I not want to act in line with what you've done for me? Why would I not want to be obedient to you who've done such a great thing for me?
And nobody does it anyway, so what's the big deal?
Nobody. Oh, you can't say nobody does it, because, I mean, here I am, Eliot. Look at what a good guy I am.
I know, you're so good.
But the reality is, I don't obey Jesus out of obligation. I obey Jesus because I actually think he wants best for me.
Sure.
So even with those rules, you can look at those and go, those are a gift. We know that as a parent, right? So like when I say, so even back to the Boy Scout camp.
I'm not even disagreeing with you in any of this because this isn't
right. Don't climb the fence.
Yeah.
May have a great reason because there's a cliff on the other side, So rules are a good thing in regards to boundaries and things like that. But when you live in this kind of oppressive, legalistic environment where it's just one rule after the other, and I have to follow out of obligation, and by the way, my salvation hangs in the balance if I don't do enough good things to outweigh the bad things, that creates a whole different type of person. And a lot of times what it creates is a person who is just resigned to their, like, I'm screwed, I'm going to do whatever I want because it doesn't matter, I can't live up to this. Or it creates, and this is even worse, I think, the really prideful, arrogant religious person who actually thinks they live up to all the rules and then looks around and points at everybody else and goes, look at all you idiots who can't. Well, you have to be incredibly prideful or incredibly delusional to think you can live up to all the rules and standards of God or of really anything, your own standards. And so that's why I think that, religion in general, outside of Christianity, does create people who are just resigned to, I can't live up to it, or these really prideful folks. And then Christianity, I think when it's lived out consistently, creates people who aren't pointing fingers at other people.
Like Hobby Lobby.
What do you mean?
Like the people.
Well, but when you talk about Hobby Lobby being a product of Christianity,
but why? Because they're a huge group. They're invoking that their religion, right? Kills me, this screen every week.
Yeah, we got a different scene this
Mike,
week.
A shade, please, man.
That plant's not doing the job.
This is my problem with religion.
But
it is, right? You can't run away from it because if everyone in my family becomes a murderer, I'm of a murderous family. It's just the way it rolls.
That's
right.
That's a pretty broad generalization.
Of course it is. Sure. Yeah, of course it is. But so what I'm saying is like why can't you just live how you want to live, right? Be how you want to be, right? And keep it quiet. Do your thing. Don't try to get laws passed about your religion.
Well, I
because
think
it's yours. It's not mine. It's not his. It's not anybody's other than yours.
I think that
why it doesn't make sense to me. Just be okay with it.
But you do have to be honest about there could potentially be certain things where you would be putting somebody in a place where it would create genuine tension between their religious beliefs and their ability.
Boy Scouts and gay people. The Boy Scouts and gay boys. Yeah, man.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but these kids can't be part. These kids can't go to Boy Scouts.
The kids can. The kids can.
The counselor can.
They can't have a gay counselor.
Why?
Because
he's going to rape somebody.
I think there's lots of fears there.
Why?
Well, because the Boy Scouts of America were originally a Christian organization.
I know. Yeah,
so
for
again, if you're going to take away somebody's ability to do business the way that they want to do business because you put them in tension with their own religious beliefs, you back them into a corner. And I don't think that's necessarily something that we want to do in our country.
I know your religious beliefs are a little twisted.
Well, but that's one of the beautiful things about our country is that you're allowed to have twisted beliefs. Back to your point is like we came here because of religious persecution. So the general idea was, listen, let's all try to play nice.
That's a good point. I'm going to give Scott a good point on that one. This is the first for the podcast. That's a good point. He gets a point. It's like 30-1.
And I think this will lead into the next episode pretty well. But I think that's one of the tensions with. And I got to read the fine print because I've seen different things.
Sure, yeah, I haven't read it either. But I don't care about
But if you're putting them in a place where they feel like they're now providing money or services that lead to abortions, I can understand why that would be a big deal.
And their science is wrong too. We won't even touch this because I don't even care. Their science is 100% wrong. Even the morning after pill doesn't create an abortion. It creates a period. It creates a menstrual cycle.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
So
and there's lots of
their science is not correct.
Well, and there's lots of issues with even the pill. Certain pills
what are we doing?
Potentially abortifacient, some aren't.
Some aren't.
Like that.
Right.
Yeah.
So what are we doing? So we can have a science argument as long as you want about this stuff, right? Yeah. I do believe, and I think most of the evidence points to them being incorrect about their science.
Maybe so.
Right. So, but we won't go there, right? Because now we have to. We do have jobs, and I can't read a Supreme Court decision and then call my lawyer friends and figure out what it actually says, right?
Right.
I just have a problem with the hypocrisy of religion because it's totally hypocritical.
But I have a problem with hypocrisy wherever it may be found.
And it's found a lot with it. It's found so much, and it's just not cool. it's just really, really not cool. And we've had, and I agree with you on some of your on your points, like that it's not supposed to be this way, but it is this way.
Yeah, at
Right?
the end of
It
the
is this way.
day, this probably reveals some of my political persuasions, but at the end of the day, I'm much more in line with let businesses that are privately owned, when you start talking publicly traded companies and you got board of directors and people that are shareholders, that's a different ballgame, I guess. But when you're talking about privately owned business, I'm into letting that guy do business the way he wants to do business. And the way he wants to do business may end up ultimately harming his business. That's his deal. I don't really care. This may be, this one might get me in trouble too. But to some degree, I think it would be horrible if a guy opened up a donut shop down there and said, and we have laws against this, but if he said no black people allowed,
No, we don't have laws against this.
Do we not have laws against that?
You can totally do
so you can put a sign in the door that says no black people
I don't know
allowed?
if you can put the sign on the door, but you have the right to refuse service.
Yeah, you have the right to refuse service. And I think to a certain degree that's a really important thing, but when you provide that for the 90% of people who are going to do good with that, you have to allow for the 10% of people who are going to do evil with that.
Sure.
That's just part of the necessary evil that comes with it.
It's the Fourth Amendment thing that we talked about.
Yeah, I'm just not for big government, man. I don't like it. I don't like big government.
Yeah, I hate that word.
I just don't want them in my life. I don't want them to tell me what kind of light bulb I'm allowed to use.
But you do want them in your life.
To some degree.
You do, because you're using the government right now in the Hobby Lobby case, right? This is big government. But your side is, right? This is a big government decision. This isn't small government here.
But Hobby Lobby.
You want the big government when you need it. Right?
No,
and then you want to take away the big government when you don't want it.
The issue was brought to Hobby Lobby. They felt like they were on the defense there. I mean, they genuinely were the ones who are going, wait, this is being imposed upon us and we don't want this.
Yeah, for sure.
So they had to take it to the Supreme Court level if they didn't want to just acquiesce. Whether they were right or wrong, it was imposed upon them.
I see your point.
What I'm saying? So.
But you're still but they're using the government as well.
Because the government came knocking.
Came knocking.
So then I guess you gotta stand and fight or just give up one or the other, I'm
just not a fan. I'm just not a fan of what people claim religion for. And
that's you can play it like a trump card. I don't disagree with that.
And it's not cool. But and this is why this is one of my huge problems with religion, right? Again, and I've said it a couple times today. I don't dislike your individual belief in Christ, right? That is 100%. I think it's silly,
sure,
right? But it's cool with me. It's no problem with me. I don't have a problem with it. Live your life. We're buddies, right?
Yep.
But man, when you start to use your religion, right, to set laws, to get things passed, right, to tell me what I'm going to do, it starts to really feel like you're trying to impose your religion on me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? And also, when you are so hypocritical with your religion, right? If you weren't sitting there screaming religious right, my religious rights, I'm a Christian, I can't have this done to me, this is a sin, and no, this is so bad, right? Oh my Lord, you can't imagine how bad this is. But I'm gonna go do this over here.
Are we imposing our religious beliefs on you when we say don't murder?
No, not at all. I don't believe it's a religious thing.
Okay, but it is.
No, it's in your book, yeah, right. But it's in all of them. Right?
It's in most of them, yeah.
And we get around it because we murder, we kill.
Right, but I'm saying you're perfectly okay with imposing that one. So,
but I don't believe it's a religious thing, though.
Well, you can say it's not all you want, but it's still in there.
It's in the book, but a lot of things are in the book, right?
Right, and so my point being, there are some that are worth imposing because they're good for everybody.
Yeah, for
and then
sure.
there are some that aren't, and I think this will lead into the next episode really, really well.
Yeah, for sure. There's some that are, there's some that aren't.
Yeah.
Right? And it's got nothing to do with the actual religion.
Nah, I would disagree there. It has a lot to do.
Why?
It's definitely a symptom of the religion.
But we follow these laws before the religion.
No, you can't deny that the United States was founded on a lot of Judeo-Christian beliefs.
Oh,
For sure. For sure.
Yeah, for sure. I'm thinking about it.
I'm not saying everybody who was a founder was a
There's a bunch
Orthodox Christian. There was a bunch that weren't. A lot were. A lot weren't. But the way it was drawn up was definitely founded on Judeo-Christian beliefs.
Yeah, because they were white and came from Europe.
But you're saying, let's talk Constitution, let's do all those things. We came here because of religious persecution. That was all very, very
I'm going to have
to,
because I just read this thing about this Judeo-Christian beliefs and the founders.
Sure.
And I'm gonna have to find it again because
Sure.
I do believe they're just so in line with good things, most of them. I'm not saying your beliefs are wrong. Right? Don't kill, don't cheat on your wife, don't steal, right? What else? What are some other good ones that our society is based on, that the Constitution has in it?
Well,
they're great. There's nothing wrong with them.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
I'm not saying so this is when people argue against atheism or argue with atheists, you're like, you're saying that Christianity is bad. I'm not saying that most of your stuff's is not good. It's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's good. You should live your life as a good person.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying that, one, it doesn't beg it, and two, there's a lot of inconsistencies with your religion.
Sure.
Like the whole gay thing. Like I just don't understand it, because that's in the Old Testament, and you're willing to throw some Old Testament stuff away. Why aren't you willing to throw that away too? Right? You're willing to throw, like we talked about it last week, you know that the Earth's not 6,000 years old.
Right.
And I give you another month or so. I don't know if you finished Colin's book or not.
I read it a while back. Yeah.
Read it again, and watch the show The Cosmos. That we talked about, right? And you're going to be pretty sure that we did come from dust, but it's not the dust of the earth, homie. It's stardust. Right?
We're aliens.
You're going to be pretty sure. You're going to read it again, and you're going to see. You're going to believe 100% in evolution, and you might think that God caused the evolution, which I can't even argue with you about. Maybe He did.
Mm-hmm.
So you're willing to let go of that, but why aren't you willing to let go of this other ridiculous nonsense that's in the Old Testament?
Well, first of all, the gay thing's not only in the Old Testament, it's in the New Testament as well.
Jesus says it's too?
Jesus talks about marriage, and he only talks about it in the form of one man, one woman, and then you have Paul. Paul who talks about.
You're killing me on Jesus now.
Paul, who talks about he lumps homosexuality in with a whole bunch of other sins as well. So we're not just going, oh, let's take this one thing from the Old Testament and choose to invoke it. It's consistent. It's in both, and so
that makes my argument better.
So anything that's let go of is only let go of because it was either fulfilled, like the dietary restrictions in the Old Testament.
But people still believe this nonsense.
Well, Jewish people do.
Yeah, I know, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, Jewish people.
I have a friend that doesn't eat pork but loves bacon, man.
Well, that doesn't make any sense.
All right. I'll tell you exactly how it makes sense. Ready? And this is how religion gets spread. His dad told him that bacon wasn't pork.
There you go.
This is how it all goes.
It
doesn't have to be true, man.
Bacon's not pork.
As long as your dad told you so
right.
and fed it to you your whole life, that it got so indoctrinated in you it makes it true.
There's some truth to that.
All
right. That was Saint in the Center, episode 6. Thanks, everybody.
KKK, baby. Here it comes.